This is the NFL Weekend Review Show on the Flex Network.
Going up, coming down, does he come down with it? Does Golden State have it? He's in the end zone, he has!
This is the Flex Network.
Unbelievable!
This is the
Romo
Flex
can't get the spot down!
Flex on them.
Run Zeke. Up the middle, he's gone! Zeke's gone! Goodbye, Zeke! Touchdown! Short yardage, pinched in. The dogs got out.
Flex on them, G.
Ran into the gun, third and 8. Crowd making noise. Manning 5 steps. Here comes the run. Taco's got it. That's an Eli taco. Oh, low snap. He picks it up. He looks, he stands, he rushes. Oh, he's up the middle. He's running up the middle. And boom!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flex Network is back once again. We have officially completed the divisional round of the NFL playoffs of this 2019-2020 season. And my, oh my, did we have some games. But before we get to that, I am Flex Mike at Flex Mike 11 on Twitter. This is the Flex Network at the Flex Network 1 on Twitter for your football and fantasy football content. The man next to me is the one, the only, the SnowMan at FlexNet_PW Elite on Twitter and YouTube. You can find him there. Like I said, Snow, we had a pretty crazy divisional round. The divisional round is kind of wildly viewed as the best round of NFL playoffs. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's when the best of the best come out. That's when there's nobody on a bye. Everybody's got a play that's still alive. So give me I'll get into the recap here in a second, but give me your just overall thoughts on this weekend.
Oh, I somewhat agree with you. I've always been more of a wild card, favorite. I like the wild card games. They're always the most interesting to me, as you get to see teams who who have to play to get in, play a team who didn't get the bye, and a conference champion or division champion who had to get into the playoffs. So divisional weekend I also love too, but again, this was like you said, this was a great week for football. A lot of great action on the field, a lot of close moments in one of the games, but it was a damn good football weekend.
Right, a lot of interesting storylines going on as we recap the NFL playoffs here. Let's go ahead and get into our recaps real quick. I'm gonna run through the scores, and then we can just kind of break down game by game kind of what we thought. There were definitely some interesting moments. A few players kind of showed some emotion out there, and we saw Aaron Donald crying, for example. He was frustrated because he was hurt and he couldn't play to the best of his ability, and that was pretty obvious. But let's start with our first game on this past Saturday. Our first game had the Packers beating the Rams 32-18. This one was kind of one-sided in the beginning, and then the Rams kind of made a little bit of a comeback, but weren't able to get close enough. And then Aaron Rodgers and the Packers pulled away. Aaron Rodgers went 23 for 36 for 296 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a big deal because the Rams were the number 1 defense in the NFL. Devontae Adams caught a touchdown pass on Jalen Ramsey, which was not so much Devontae Adams beating Jalen Ramsey. It was more of just a great play design on Green Bay's side offensively to get him open using motions and things of that nature. So that was interesting. Aaron Jones had 99 yards and a touchdown rushing for them. Cam Akers had 90 yards and a touchdown on the other side of the ball. Jared Goff was efficient, just wasn't enough to beat him. Looks like Alex Torres is here. The old faithful Alex Torres checking in with us.
Oh yeah.
So he's here every week with us. So appreciate you watching, Alex. Yeah. So Green Bay just, to me, it was just a complete win. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, this was a very good, complete win for Green Bay. They are 7-1 in home playoff games on Saturday all time. So this just speaks volumes to Green Bay itself. In that frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, dealing damage to the LA Rams in how they did.
Right. I mean, this was this is just 100%. You gotta respect Aaron Rodgers at this point, right? Like,
Yeah,
he's the front runner for the MVP. I don't even want to hear an argument about it. Like, he's the MVP. If the season ended right now, you would have to give that to him, and I think he ultimately still will get it. He does more with less. He doesn't have all of the same weapons that Kansas City has in a receiving core, or the plethora of running backs in the backfield, or a big time special tight end. Although he does have a tight end that's good, but he doesn't have the great tight end that Kansas City has. And I saw a stat that the Green Bay Packers haven't drafted a receiver in the first round for Aaron Rodgers in, I can't remember how many years it was, but it's been a long time, and maybe in his career. Although Devontae Adams is really playing like a first-round wide receiver, but was not drafted there. They said the one receiver they drafted was Mercedes Lewis, who is he even on the team anymore? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
And if he is on the team, he's not used very often because we'd be mentioning his name. He's throwing the guy's name, Marquez Valdez Scantling, which goes down as one of the best names in football. He's throwing to guys.
I think the overall best name in football, right, is bar none. Clinton Dix. That's still one of the best names out there.
My wife actually loves that. She loves that name, and it makes her laugh every time she hears it.
Who doesn't make that name laugh? Guys. I mean, Clinton Dix. That's just funny right there off the beaten path.
Right. And, so back to Aaron Rodgers, he's throwing passes to guys named Alan Lazard. He's throwing passes to his tight end, Robert Tonyan, or however you say his last name. Apparently the media has been saying his last name wrong, and he corrected someone the other day, or maybe a few weeks back, and everyone was like, whoa, Alex Torres says Taco Charlton is funny too. Yeah. If
who makes their kid Taco?
Well, I'll tell Alex this, because he's here in Texas with me, and he doesn't know about it, but up in the Pacific Northwest, there's a fast food chain and goes by the name of Taco Time, and they've been known to grab some NFL players and make them do some ad reads on the radio or something for them to sponsor them a little bit. I guarantee that if the Seattle Seahawks had Taco Charlton on their team, that you'd turn on your radio one day and you would hear Taco Charlton saying, "Hey, I'm Taco, and I'm Taco from Taco Time," or something. So that would just be interesting.
What would be worse is someone with a funny name up here in Seattle area promoting Dick's hamburgers.
Yeah.
That would that would just be a hoot and a half right there. Someone promoting Dick's hamburgers.
Yeah. So as we get back to these games, I want to say one thing. Snow, you're coming on strong a little too late. Okay, this late in the season, for the listeners and the viewers out there, the SnowMan made a clean sweep in his picks this week. albeit there weren't that many
Oh.
games, but he still got them all right.
Still.
Cowboy Cam is not here because as they like to say here in Texas, he S the bed and only got one right, which was Green Bay over the Rams. All the other ones he got wrong, which is funny because he's been going against New Orleans all year and he just randomly switches it up last minute. But anyway, as we get into these scores, finish these games out, let me get back to where I was because kind of got carried away. But Snow, you did a good job this past week, and I think it's just a little bit too late. But anyway,
in our world, I did great in garbage time.
Right. That's basically what it is.
I got nothing to lose.
So the late game on Saturday was Bills-Ravens. Bills take care of the Ravens 17-3. This was really a boring game in my opinion. And if you like defense, it was a good game. But what was it? 3-3 at half, something like that. And so old Lamar Jackson and his boys get sent home. The Bills didn't run the ball one time in the first half. Like, it was crazy. Let's see here. Lamar Jackson ends the game 14 for 24, 162 yards and an interception. Josh Allen goes 23 for 37, 206 yards and a touchdown. There's not really any players that had like big time games. I guess you could say Stephon Diggs did. He had 8 catches, 106 and a touchdown. But this was one of those games that you could tell the Bills were going to lean on their defense big time, and if they could shut down Lamar, then they were going to take care of business, and that's exactly what they did. They really shut down Lamar. They made things very difficult, and it doesn't help. We talked about this last week. It doesn't help that it seems like Baltimore's receivers are dropping passes left and right. Like, I don't know how many targets Marquise Hollywood Brown had, and I'm actually going to look it up right now. But he dropped so many passes. It was crazy. I was like, what is it? Okay. I guess he had 7 targets and 4 catches.
4 for 8. He was 4 for 7 for 87 yards.
Maybe it's just one of those things that it feels like those drops come at the most inopportune moments, where you're like, it's a big third down, 3rd and 12, and Lamar Jackson finds Hollywood Brown out there, 20 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he just drops it. And you're like, dude, come on. Like, you shouldn't be dropping that stuff. So,
this was just a very low game for I feel like this was just the score says it was a low scoring game. It was a very dull game, I would say. No one went above 200 yards in passing. Buffalo was 2 yards shy of tying Baltimore at 190, so Buffalo threw for 188, and Buff didn't even run that much. They only ran for 32 yards compared to Baltimore trying to juice up and get the run game going. They ran for $150. So it's just a boring game, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just one of those defensive battles like I talked about. But let's move on to the game, the first game on Sunday that everyone was really talking about. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Cleveland Browns 22-17. Snows were happy about that. Outside of everything, Cleveland played really well. Their major problem was they didn't score in the first half. I think they had 3 points at halftime. It was like 17-3 or something like that at halftime. And so that became an issue for them. And they tried to get the run game going like they always do. Nick Chubb had 13 carries for 69 yards. Baker Mayfield was pretty efficient, 23 for 37, 204 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Pat Mahomes, who, if you've turned on any type of Fox Sports, ESPN, any NFL network, any type of sports station at all, it's all been Pat Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes was hurt in this game. A lot of people think that he got a concussion, but he actually didn't get a concussion. Reports were that he got hit in the nerve that is in his neck, in the back of his neck, that goes up to his brain, and so there was a major issue there. Threw his equilibrium off a little bit. Yeah, Mahomes looked like Sean Lee when he tried getting up. Yeah, so like I said, his equilibrium was thrown off. He had no balance, and so he was out of the game. They knocked him out of the game.
Actually, the way that Patrick Mahomes was trying to get up, it was kind of like a Ric Flair, just okay, I'm okay, and then fall down. But this game was very good. I will give it that. And let me be very clear. I'm not hating on the Cleveland Browns. I'm not saying this with hate and malice. I have been so used to the Cleveland Browns franchise being a laughingstock, being at the bottom of the barrel and being on the outside looking in. I mean, think about it. This is an expansion team. This is not the original Cleveland Browns. The original Browns are in Baltimore. The expansion Browns have been a joke. So I don't say, when I laugh and say all this, I'm not doing this with hate and malice. I'm doing this because this is what I've expected with these Browns. And that is to be sitting at home, crying, drinking beer, maybe some hard liquor. It's already been hard liquor because their blood alcohol level is about 5.0 right now. But that's just how I've expected with Cleveland. So I'm not saying this with hate and malice.
Well, you might not be saying it with hate, but you're definitely saying it with malice. You've been dumping all over the Browns all season as they trek their way to the playoffs. I distinctly remember earlier in the season you saying there's no chance in hell that Cleveland makes the playoffs, yet they made the playoffs. But that's okay.
Thanks,
but I will tell you this right now. You are kidding yourself if you think that Cleveland did not play a good game against Kansas City. They absolutely did.
They did. I will give them that. They played a good game, and they made it a contest to try to get back into it.
Yeah, and I think if you're a football fan at this point, an NFL fan, you have to look at the Browns and say, okay, they have my respect now because they played well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking a few years ago from being winless, getting Baker Mayfield kind of, you get him with the number 1 pick overall. You got all these draft picks. You draft all these guys, and then you get the team kind of going in the right direction. Baker Mayfield comes in. I think they win 6 games his rookie year. And then last year they completely fell off a cliff. They were bad again. And everyone's like, oh, they're bad. And I think it was one of those situations where Baker Mayfield was really like kind of feeling himself. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm good. I can't be touched and all that stuff. And, the league had to humble him in a pretty big way. And so he quit talking in the media so much. And now he's I don't know. I think there's games where he looks good, and then there's games where he looks like a game manager. So if I had any criticism of him going towards next season from a coach or GM perspective, I would say I would like to see a little more consistency on the good side of things. He can still play. There's no question about it. But I would just like to see consistency, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, this year for Cleveland, this next season for Cleveland is going to be the real test. If they can be consistent, if they can get back to the playoffs again, because now they made the playoffs. First time in decades that they made the playoffs. Now they're on this upward trend. They need to stay at this trend to where they're in the playoffs / in the hunt for division crown. Now they've shaked that mantra that they are not a team to be messed with now. Now they got to keep it up, because if they go back to where they were, back to old Brown next year and just fall off the cliff and stay at the bottom of the barrel, then it's going to be just, they were just a one trick pony.
Yeah, I think what they put out there this year was, kind of some stepping stones for them, and they they played well, and so next year you would want to see him improve on that, and even next year if they end up as a wild card again, it's not a letdown because that division is fairly competitive with. I mean, outside of Cincinnati, you got Baltimore and Pittsburgh
Oh
and
yeah,
Cleveland all in that same division.
The AFC North is
Yes.
really stacked. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland now. But again, what's going to happen next season is all going to be depending on what Pittsburgh's going to do, what Baltimore's going to do. If Baltimore's going to come back strong after this embarrassing loss in the playoffs, and the same thing with the Cleveland Browns. What are they going to do? And if Cincinnati's just going to try to sniff some more wins out and get better over the offseason. So a lot to come up in the AFC North.
Right. Okay, so then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to New Orleans and take on the New Orleans Saints. And the Bucks beat the Saints 30-20. As far as we know right now, Drew Brees is retiring, but he hasn't made an official announcement yet. So I'm sure we'll hear something in the coming days. We've heard a retirement from the QB position already this week. We heard earlier this morning that Phillip Rivers was retiring, and then he released a statement. And of course, the word "dadgummit" was in the statement, and that's the most Phillip Rivers type thing ever. And you know what? I've never really been a Phillip Rivers fan. Even his old days with the San Diego Chargers, I was not in on that. I didn't like him. But one of the things that I applaud him for is playing 17 seasons in the National Football League, and dude's got 9 kids. So it's like, I applaud him for playing that long. And so,
yeah, the one thing I know I'm going to miss, and you already know this, and I'm just going to be missing this.
We'll be rolling Phillip Rivers.
Every Sunday. I'm going to miss that. It's just sad to see that go.
Yeah, that has officially retired with Phillip Rivers. So that's a little unfortunate for you.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and recap this game. Tampa Bay takes care of New Orleans 30-20, like I said. And this was a defensive game for the Tampa Bay Bucks. They intercepted Drew Brees 4 times.
Oh.
And I'm not going to lie, it was sad to watch. 3 times it says. Maybe they had 4 turnovers as a team. Drew Brees threw 3 interceptions though. So that's a little disheartening if you're a Saints fan. Let's see. Tom Brady didn't really have that efficient of a game, but 18 for 33, 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Granted, they gave Tom Brady the ball in plus territory almost every pick. I think one of them was a pick 6. So, and then I know another one of them got ran back to like the 4-yard line or something. So, they were right there.
Breeze got picked 3 times and they lost a fumble. So 4 turnovers for the Saints, and that ship, unfortunately for the Heavenly Saints, they were sunk. At that point, you give up 4 turnovers to a Tom Brady and the Bucks, that ship's gonna just sail right all over you.
Yeah, that was it's unfortunate that you're playing Tom Brady, right? You're playing Tom Brady and all those receivers and all that. So yeah, they're gonna score. When you get to this point in the playoffs, you can't turn over the ball. The ball, it's derailing at this point. You're. What are we saying? The Detroit Lions caliber teams, the who else was bad this year? The New York Jets, those types of teams, Cincy, those types of teams are no longer here. You're not going to play them. There's no more layups. Everything's tough. So, you just cannot turn the ball over. You really don't want to turn the ball over at all, let alone 4 times in a game. You're shooting yourself in the foot. But I'll tell you, one of the things I saw this game was I saw a lot of I saw a lot of miscommunication from quarterback to receiver, receivers running wrong routes, receivers shortening routes or running routes too far. And Drew Brees can't exactly get the ball down the field like he used to be able to. And so that's an issue there. But that, it was over about by the time the third quarter was halfway over. The game was pretty much over at that point.
Yeah. And again, I mean, you've said it. Turnovers in the playoffs are going to kill you. I could see one turnover early in the game. You could come back. 2 is doable. But you're getting into 3, you're getting into 4 territory. That's just something you can't come back from, and especially if you're not playing as well as you should be. A 12-4 team, and you're giving the ball up 4 times in the game. That's a recipe for an exit and not hosting a division, or either hosting or playing in a division or conference title game. So it's unfortunate for the Saints. They peace out, and Tampa Bay moves on and has a chance to be the first team to host the Super Bowl.
That is very true. Okay,
they may not be the home team, but still, they have a chance to host.
With that being said, let's go ahead and move into our picks for this week.
Before we head into picks, I mean, I actually do have a laugh out moment of the week. A couple things. Laugh out moment during the Baltimore and Buffalo game. If you saw Josh Allen with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and he just gets a little touch, and he just goes, "Whoa!" Like he got steamrolled by
like a European League soccer player just flopping.
Yeah, huh? That just deserves a welcome to the Phantom of the Flopper. He knows how to flop with the best. Like a basketball player on the court or a soccer player on the pitch. He just knows how to flop. That was just too funny right there, to say the least.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then there was some before we go into picks. I know that the draft this year is going to change up. There's news out of that for this the combine. They're not going to be done in Indy this year. It's all going to be done. The on-field workouts are going to be done out at on-campus pro days. They will try to have much uniformity in the on-field drills as possible to give teams the ability to compare the workouts from one site to another. Interviews with the prospects and team officials will be done virtually, as well as the physiological testing, and medical exams will be expected to be conducted in combination of the virtual interviews between players and the team medical staff, and to go with exams done at the medical facilities near the prospect's campus. So a lot of different things are coming up in this draft. The scouting combine that we're not going to be able to see probably as normal as we have in past years. Hopefully within either in the next next year or year after that, we'll be back to a normal combine to where we can all watch it on the NFL Network when it's down in Indy.
Yeah, that kind of makes you think about one thing it makes me think about is it makes me think of a team like Seattle who just gave up 3 first-round draft picks for Jamal Adams,
And one of them is going to year.
Yeah, and so it makes you wonder, did Pete Carroll or John Schneider, did those guys have some type of maybe hunch about knowing that the combine was kind of going to go to something like this where they wouldn't be able to evaluate the players the way that they wanted to? And I wouldn't be surprised if other GMs and coaches thought this as well. I'm just using Seattle as an example.
Yeah.
But do those front office people, do those coaches, all those scouts, have they said, hey, let's make a trade for this guy or for that guy because that's a position that we need. We know that guy can already play, and we're not too sure about some of these prospects, and we're not going to be able to look at them the way that we want to look at them. We're not going to be able to put them through the workouts that we want to put them through. And so things are going to be a little bit more up in the air this year. And so just kind of a nugget there to think about.
I'm thinking maybe under the, of course, with COVID, everything's been changing. We're starting to, the vaccines are starting to come out slowly. But I think, again, we're still in the phase of everything virtually. We're trying to limit gatherings as much as we can to a point. And every state and every area is different for where they're at in their reopening. So again, it's one of those things where you can't tell, you're not going to be able to tell, a couple months down the line as we get down to draft time, early in the season when we're making trades, trying to get players and everything like that, that we're going to get into a COVID situation where we're not going to have a scouting combine to where we're going to see the next bunch of talent coming up from college, and we're not going to be able to meet with them, talk with them, and face to face in person at Indy like we normally do. So it's one of those things, just bad situation and bad timing. But again, I feel like once we get out of this year and we get, hopefully by next draft class, maybe even 2 years down the road, we'll be back to somewhat of a normalcy of a draft, not only a draft in person and a scouting combine in person. It's just going to, I think it's going to take 1 to 2 years to get back to that normalcy.
Right. That seems to make sense, but that was just kind of one thing I was thinking about. But let's go ahead and move to our picks for the week. We have the NFC Championship first on Sunday.
It's all Sunday.
Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday evening is the AFC Championship. So, NFC Championship first. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, to take on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is currently favored by 3 points. Matchup predictor has the Green Bay Packers winning 53.2% of the time. And we will see what happens. Any notable injuries here? Alan Lazard, questionable. Jamal Williams, questionable for Green Bay. I think that is just kind of like a workload type thing. We have Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Ronald Jones, all questionable. Jordan Whitehead, the safety for the Bucs, questionable as well. I know Antonio Brown kind of aggravated his foot or something in this last divisional round game, but we will see. Let's see. Let's start with you, Snow. Tell me who you have in this one. Tampa Bay, Green Bay at Lambeau. Hold on, let me get the weather real quick. Let's see what the weather's supposed to look like.
I will bet you anything that it's going to be snowing or frozen up there in Green Bay. I bet you anything that's going to be like that. It's end of January.
Yeah, so end of January, 32 degrees and snowy is what it says. It also said that last week, but we don't know if it will actually be that come kickoff. So we'll see. So give me your pick.
As much as this is going, I believe that this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a great game. It's the NFC title game. It's one of the best divisions out there. Conferences out there. It's always very competitive. I believe that Green Bay, for some reason, even with that bad man on there, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, I feel like they're going to take Tampa Bay ever so lightly. And I think Tampa Bay is going to make history and be the first team to host a Super Bowl. So I'm picking up a sword, and I'm heading on the Jolly Roger down to Miami. I'm swinging with the Bucks. Give me Tampa Bay.
Okay, and who did Cam take in this one?
How about you go first, my man? Because again,
Okay.
here, let me paint this picture for everyone out here that's going to be watching and listening. The situation that we're in for the season standings, Mike is up 3 in this situation right now. Mike is up 3, 170 to 167. Cam has to have a clean sweep this week to have a chance at Super Bowl for a tie. So,
But that also implies that I have
you
to
have to
be.
miss your picks. You have to miss your
Yeah,
picks.
I have to miss my picks.
So,
Yeah, so I would have to miss both games. I would have to miss the AFC and the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl in order for him to tie.
Yep. So,
Okay.
let me just. I'm just gonna go. You go first, and then Cam will go last because he has to
Okay.
have the shot. So,
Right. Okay. So I'm going Green Bay in this one. The only bad loss that Green Bay had this season was to Tampa Bay. I believe it was week 6. I was at my buddy's house, who's a big time Packers fan. I think I left in like the third quarter, and they were just beating the snot out of the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers comes out, throws a pick 6. And you would have to just search deep in the record books to find the last time that Aaron Rodgers threw a pick 6. And then, so Tampa Bay scores, kicks the ball off. Green Bay lets it hit a touchback. They get the ball to 25. Aaron Rodgers comes out, throws another pick, throws back-to-back picks. You would have to search even deeper into those history books that I previously mentioned to find when Aaron Rodgers threw back-to-back picks. And so I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of like a petty type of dude. He's a little bit salty with when things don't go his way. And so to me, I think Green Bay is going to win this game. I think it has potential to be close, but I also think it has potential for Green Bay to blow them out. But seeing how it's the NFC Championship, I don't think that's likely. I think it'll be a closer game, but I think Green Bay takes this one. Aaron Rodgers proves why he's an MVP, and the Packers prove why they're the best offense left in the NFL right now.
and think about this. This is going to be the first ever postseason meeting between Brady and Rodgers. How's that for a game, for an NFC title game?
And it's kind of crazy that we've gone this long without getting that. But if you think about it, it's Aaron Rodgers has been on the same team his whole career, and Tom Brady just came to the NFC. So the only other time that they could have matched up would be in a Super Bowl or a non-conference type of game.
Well, no, it would be. I'm just it would be preseason or postseason, but this is the first postseason meeting between these two. So,
first postseason. Okay.
Yep, this is the first postseason, so they would have had to meet in the Super Bowl in past years for this matchup to happen. But so you went with the Packers, Mr. Cam goes Tampa Bay.
Wow, no way.
He goes Tampa Bay.
You guys are drinking the Kool-Aid, huh?
He is playing for a win, trying to get into the hunt for Super Bowl. He's trying to get in here, man. He let the lead slip, and now he wants it back.
I think it's a little bit.
He wants to get back at the number 1 seed before this season ends for us. So, but yeah, he's going Tampa Bay. He's jumping on that Jolly Roger with me and being the Pirate.
Okay, so we will move to the AFC Championship game, which has the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills traveling to Kansas City to take on the number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City currently is favored by 3 points. The matchup predictor has Kansas City winning 58.3% of the time. Let's see. Buffalo's running back Zach Moss, he went on injured reserve, but you got Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis, who are questionable. Quentin Jefferson and Vernon Butler, both D tackles, are both questionable as well. Willie Gay, linebacker for Kansas City, questionable. Sammy Watkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Rashad Fenton are all questionable, along with Mr. Patrick Mahomes himself is questionable, although I do know that he played or that he practiced today. And so it was limited. He's expected to practice all the way, little by little each day going into the game. And it's the AFC Championship with a chance to get to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any chance that he doesn't play in this game.
Again, there's a chance there that he will play, and then there's also another chance that he will miss. Again, he has to get through concussion protocol. He's got to have no lingering effects and everything. And I understand, he didn't get a concussion off this last game. It was just he had a nerve and everything, but he's in the concussion protocol for that type of what it looked like at game time during the game. So, but it's this is one of those picks where you want to pick one team, but you don't know what their main guy is going to be doing on Sunday. If he's playing, then that's going to flip the entire script around. If he is, then it's going to be about maybe an even script. So everything is basically riding on Holmes is playing.
Yeah, so what's your pick for this one, Snow?
This is the toughest pick of them all because, again, like I just said, if Patrick Mahomes is not playing, then the entire mantra of this game gets turned on its head and the script gets flipped to where Buffalo becomes the big favorite. And if Patrick is playing, then this is going to be a Kansas City. It's going to be probably about even game. Maybe KC has a little bit more of the advantage. But this is a team right now. Buffalo Bills right now is a team on a mission. This is their first AFC title appearance since 1993 in the last series of their 4 straight Super Bowl losses that they made. This is tough because everyone's picking KC. Patrick Mahomes is playing. If Patrick's not playing, then a lot of people are still going to go with KC. But the way that they survived against Cleveland without Patrick in the fourth quarter brings into question how well they're going to survive Buffalo, who is on a mission to get back to a Super Bowl. And they can do it with Josh Allen. They can do it with Diggs. They can do it with this defense. If this is they need to have a perfect game essentially to beat the Chiefs. And as much as I want to jump on this KC bandwagon, and as much as I've been doing it all season, I feel like Buffalo can do it. So I'm circling the wagons. Give me Buffalo.
Okay, you're going Buffalo. And what points are you taking in that one?
I'm going to go with an even 50.
50. Okay. Okay, I will go next. This one, while I agree will be interesting, like I said earlier, there's no chance that Pat Mahomes doesn't play. There's a situation that I could see happening, though. Last week, Chad Henne came in and had to play a little bit while Patrick Mahomes was out. And so if you remember in the wild card round, Seahawks versus Rams, what's his name? Wolford was the starting quarterback while Goff was the backup because Goff was just coming off of that thumb surgery. So he was hurt, but Wolford obviously gets knocked out with a concussion. And so here comes Jared Goff, and Jared Goff comes in. I could see a situation where Chad Henne gets the start, but Pat Mahomes is the backup for emergency reasons. And then if Chad Henne's kind of not doing enough to keep them in the game, then Andy Reid could say, "Hey, Mahomes, are you good? Do you want to play? Blah blah blah," and sub him in. Who knows? But I don't think Buffalo is as good as they played last week, and the week before when they played Indianapolis, I think that is more realistically the type of team that you get. People forget that Buffalo scored 10 points. Like, you had 3 points in the first half against Baltimore. Kansas City's defense isn't anything to sleep on. I think they play pretty dang well. They have a good pass rush. They have our old friend Frank Clark over there, and so we'll see how that goes. But I think KC wins this game and give me 57 points.
Okay.
And so what did Cam go with on this one?
Well, he went total points. He think this is going to be a high scoring game. He's going to pick at 62 for score.
Oh,
total points. While he is picking for this game, he is circling the wagons with me. He's right next to me on shotgun. He's rolling with the Bills.
we will obviously see. We don't obviously this is why they play the games, right? Because if they left it up to guys like us, we would just write them off, and the Seahawks would win 47 Super Bowls in a row, and that would be the end of it. But that's not reality right now. So
No.
that will wrap it up for us tonight. This evening
Short
we
game.
had the AFC and NFC Championship games to cover only. We covered a little bit of NFL news for you. Now, if you like what you're listening to, you can do us some favors. You can go over to our Facebook, search the Flex Network on Facebook. You'll find us there, at the Flex Network 1 on Twitter. Football and fantasy football content there, at FlexNet _PW Elite for our professional wrestling talk with the one and only SnowMan, and you can find them on YouTube as well. We will be dropping stuff everywhere. We are on every podcasting platform that you download from, and we're on all those platforms. We're on YouTube, Facebook. Find us on Instagram. Search the Flex Network on Instagram. We're everywhere. So tell your friends about us. Like our Facebook page, write us a review on one of those platforms, and we would greatly appreciate it. The reviews on Apple Podcasts specifically help us become more discoverable. So if Apple Podcasts is your platform, go in there and write us a review and just let us know what you think. I guess throw a 5-star on there for us if you like what you're hearing. And as for me, Flex Mike, that is the SnowMan. We will catch you guys later.
Peace out.